Imagine running a factory that builds AI-powered electric scooters. You need thousands of components to keep the assembly line moving, but a core operational trade-off quickly emerges. Should you spend the same amount of time and energy negotiating contracts for the office toilet paper as you do for the advanced lithium batteries? To solve this, distinguish how we buy. On the left, we have purchasing, the transactional baseline focusing on acquiring goods at the lowest price. Moving right, we find procurement. This strategic approach manages long-term supplier relationships, ensuring every material aligns with larger business goals. Whether the goal is a basic purchase or strategic procurement, the process relies on the 6 golden rules, known as the 6 R's: securing the right quality, the right quantity, at the right time, from the right source, for the right price, and delivered to the right place. This linear flowchart outlines the 6-step process used to hit those targets. It starts internally by identifying a need and specifying the exact requirements. Then the buyer searches for sources, selects a supplier, orders the materials, and finally receives and verifies the goods. Applying this entire process with the same intensity to every single item drains time and money. Efficiency requires us to categorize both the items we buy and the suppliers we buy them from. Just as factory inputs vary in importance, suppliers vary in their reliability and capability. Because of this, organizations place suppliers into a hierarchy of trust, ranging from simple transactional lists to deeply integrated alliances. Looking at this 4-tier pyramid, we start at the bottom with approved suppliers, who meet basic specs and market prices. One step up, preferred suppliers emerge as reliable, flexible partners the firm conducts regular business with. Moving higher, certified suppliers have quality systems so robust that buyers can safely skip incoming inspections. At the peak, we reach partnership suppliers. These are strategic alliances involving shared risks, shared technology, and joint long-term planning. Elevating a supplier to that partnership level is a calculated decision. Companies do this to secure critical resources and guarantee a sustainable, ethical supply chain in a volatile market. To determine which strategy to apply to a specific item, we use the Spend Analysis Matrix, or Crawledge Matrix. This framework maps purchases using 2 metrics: the annual purchasing expenditure on the x-axis and the supply market risk on the y-axis. In the bottom left quadrant, we find low risk and low spend. These are non-critical items, like everyday office supplies. The strategy here is to standardize the process, minimize administrative work, and find the lowest price. In the bottom right, we hit low risk but high spend. These are leverage items, like delivery vehicles. Many capable suppliers exist in the market, allowing the company to rely on competitive bidding to drive down costs on these high-volume purchases. The top left represents high risk but low spend. These are bottleneck items. They are inexpensive but highly specific, like a custom microchip. A shortage here can halt production. The strategy is to secure supply agreements or redesign the product to use standard parts. Finally, the top right quadrant holds high risk and high spend. These are strategic items. Critical, expensive components like AI operating software require deep, long-term supplier partnerships to ensure the business can function. Let's test this framework. Imagine you manage a traditional medicine factory. You need a highly specialized, expensive herb mixing machine manufactured by only one supplier globally. Where does it belong on this grid? Because the machine is expensive, it represents high spend. Because there is only one supplier, it carries high market risk. That places it firmly in the strategic quadrant, requiring a partnership approach. Knowing exactly where an item sits on this matrix allows managers to allocate their time where the risk is highest, rather than treating every invoice the same way. Applying these frameworks shows that strategic procurement is a way to manage corporate risk. It allows a firm to drive green initiatives through careful supplier selection and creates a competitive advantage by aligning external resources with internal goals. This cheat sheet summarizes the playbook. On the left, we secure execution through the 6 R's. On the right, we align our sourcing strategy using the 4 quadrants of the Spend Analysis Matrix. This matrix moves buying from an administrative task to a strategic function that manages both cost and supply risk simultaneously.